Hello, welcome back to Design Elements and Principles, Session 5, right? Session 5, texture. Moving on, starting to get into some weirder elements in the design phase. Here's all the reminders for everybody coming up. Session 1 line closes tonight at midnight and will not reopen. So if you have anything missing or need to update in session 1 for line, you have until 11:59 p.m. on today, Thursday, October 30th. I've sent an email out to everyone in the class. I hope we all read it. Stating about if you're doing something not quite right. I do write in every assignment. Like every time you upload something, I will respond. Even if it's the word great or something small, you've got an acknowledgement of your work. And then if you need to improve something, I will write, this is what you need to improve. And I will even put in there if there's a chance for you to try it again and all that kind of stuff. That's all put in there. And it's as college students, we're in college, some of this is on you. You need to look at, I handed something in. It was due. I have a response. Should I take action? It's up to you in college. It's not grade school. It's not high school, into which I'm going to hold your hand a lot. But I'm here to help any way I can, but I can't do the work for you. If you don't turn it in, you don't get the work done. That's it's bridging on. We're getting into the work field then. So there we are. So line shuts down today. And then shape is on Tuesday. And then we go around. Oh boy, enough of that, eh? Enough of that chitter chatter. Let's keep going. Let's move on. Let's talk about unit session 5 and just go through everything once more. Let's do this. Just for everybody who's like, oh my God, here we go again. Texture is not as long. There's a point of like texture, there's just not as much to like talk about. It's not like color where I get super excited. Texture is cool and all, but it'll be a quick one. Not super quick, but quick enough. As we talk about every week, every session, quick challenge session. These are five quiz questions that you can, what is a serif in typography? Please copy, paste, answer correctly. Here, I'll give you this one. Small decorative stroke on letters. Woohoo! I got it right. There you go. I gave you that one. That's a freebie. We will actually talk more about serif and sans serif letters later on in this course, but it's something that's talked about. I feel like even the layperson, when they talk about fonts, knows what serif and sans serif is. But we'll talk about that in an upcoming unit. Don't you worry. We have the textbook. Again, the textbook reading is included in the assignment for the textbook. There it is. You click on it, you peruse it, you read it. Beautiful, lovely jubbly. You do your little write-up on what you found interesting, and we move on in life. Oh, you know what? I only checked for 100 words. This is old. I should update that. I'll update that at some point. I just double check that you're hitting 100 words. It's 4 sentences. It's what I've said. You write more, you get a little better points. Easy peasy. Design practice. Let's view these instructions. Back to Illustrator and Art Sims. Some people have had some troubles. You know, you go up here and you hit the download and then it's like, hey, log in to all your information, log in, blah, blah, blah. You may need to log in again if it's been a long time, but it should just do it, have it call your phone, blah, blah, blah. If you're still running into troubles, there's two other things you should do. One, close your browser completely, not just close the windows that you have, your tabs. Go to Chrome, go to Firefox, go to Safari, whatever you're using, and just shut her down. Yeah, we don't need things. You can do those later. So then the other one is to restart your computer. Just like anything, every once in a while, if you haven't restarted your computer in a couple of days, restart your computer and get all the bugs out, and that should help as well. All right, so I have my downloads, and I will show it to you. Oops, I didn't actually mean to hit that. I wanted to show you this. It is ArtSims Zip. Here we have ArtSims, and we have the links. I'm going to open up ArtSims, and I see some color blocks, some text, the background, but no images. All right, let's start. Let's import those. I'm going to close off everything but examples. I see I need 3 examples, and I need the photo. So I'm going to go to my select tool, which I just always go to. It's just default. If it's not on that, I just always start up there. It's just a habit I get into. And I'm going to go to File and Place. Now I'm going to go to on my computer, and I'm going to go to ArtSims, and I'm going to go to Links, and I'm only going to grab the 3 examples. The photo goes in a different place. And then I'm going to, as you can see, as I grabbed all 3, I have an icon that says 1 of 3. That means I'm holding on magically to 3 images, and those 3 images are these images that go on the side here. So I'm just going to click once, twice, 3 times, and I have my 3 images. Now I'm going to, with this select tool, I am going to click and drag across all 3. I'm going to go to the scale. This little box to a big box means scale. Scale. I just double clicked on it, and arbitrarily I type in 25. Is it exact? Absolutely not. But it gets me closer, that I get these images smaller so I can start placing them in place. Everything you do to make your life easier, step by step, is what we do. So I'm going to grab all 3 again, and I'm going to move them over here. Now, one thing to make it easier is right here in the line, I'm going to center them all up. And they're all pretty darn close to being the same size. So I can just, for the sake of things, I'm going to put it up in that corner, and I can use free transform, or I can use the select tool. I'm going to use free transform. I'm going to grab that edge. Sometimes I have troubles with it, and I'm going to hold down shift. We always scale with shift held down. Here's the caveat: unless you are in Photoshop, and for some reason Photoshop is reversed. But in InDesign and Illustrator, we always scale, and when we scale, we hold down shift to constrain. All right, now I'm just going to pull. This image goes here, and Fever stays on top, and Do the Right Thing comes to the bottom, and here, and I got these in. Now I'm going to come back, and I'm going to readjust, because I want perfect corners, meaning like when I zoom in, I want the light gray, the darker gray, and all these to make a little perfect corner. So we're going to have to go in and do some finer adjustments on this. But while we're placing images, I'm going to place the photo in, and the photo goes up here. Here's a picture of ArtSims. Let's get that photo by going to File, Place. I'm opening up that folder there, and there, AS Photo, ArtSims Photo, and I'm going to place that. And again, it's 1 of 1. I only have 1 image to place. It's nice and big. I'm going to hit that scale. It's set on 25. Perfect. Just makes it smaller, easier for me to deal with. I'm going to bring it up to there. It's lined up with my margin. The magenta stroke you see is called a margin. And I'm going to scale this. Of course, I'm holding down shift as I scale it, because I don't want to have it be any bigger than it needs to be. And then I'm going to line it up. So as you might see, the image goes behind that poster a little bit. We don't see the whole image, do we? Ooh. If I move this over, you can see it's hidden just a bit. And we can leave that there. That's looking sharp. We're going to sharpen it up even more. Now I can just go down the line. Art, I'm going to go to title. Art goes over art. And I'm going to actually line it up at the top. Sims goes here. Lock that. The photo's done. The body copy, I'm going to put that first section of body copy goes here. Let's tap it up and get it perfectly centered. The second set of body copy goes here. When I say tab, I am using the arrow keys on the keyboard for the assistance because I just need to move it a little bit. And why use my shaky hand when I could just tap, 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 tap. Then I'm going to go to the background. Lots of background. There's 3 gray. This gray almost matches the other gray. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to line it up all the way across. Again, tap where I need to. I'm going to take the middle gray, place it in, tap where I need to, and the final one. Now behind all that goes the background color, which is all of this. Now what I can do is zoom in and let's try to align these corners a little more perfect by jumping back and forth with scale and a little bit of movement, all right? So right here, see that? These corners should be all the same. So what I'm going to start with, and I'm sorry, zoomed in, I'm going to zoom back out, is I'm only going to deal with the examples, and I'm going to select all the examples, and I'm going to align them all to the right. That way they're all in line with the margin line. And now I'm going to zoom in. And the one that I need to fix is, what is this movie? Mo Better Blues. And I'm just going to select that. And I'm going to hold down shift. And I'm going to make it smaller. I'm going to get it to that perfect line. And then I'm going to grab the, oh my gosh, I don't know that, Jungle Fever. And I'm going to make that, and I'm going to hold down shift, and I'm going to bring it down to that line. Look at that. Look right there. Darn near perfect. It's like a pixel off. Just adjust it. Get it perfect. Beep, beep. Oh, it's tap. That's too much. There you go. That's great. And then I'm going to move down. And let's do the right thing to the right size. Now I see an error, so we can fix that. I see a little bit gray going through there. And what we can do is if we move this gray up, and then I move this image up, how are we doing? I think this image needs to be a tad bigger. And we can just scale that just that a little bit amount, but I'm going to scale it to the right. I'm going to watch when I say scale, I'm going to pull it to the right just a bit. And then let's check. Not lining up perfectly. And I think I'm just going to go through and just kind of start tapping away. Let's get things a little bit more lined up. That image height and width are good. Looking good. Looking good. I think we can reduce the size of this one. I'm going to go back and just get it into there. And then I can move this gray up, get it out of that area. I don't want that gray coming behind, like sticking out. It's supposed to end. And this one is just about like making micro adjustments. I can, if you're like, oh, I can't get it perfect, I'm going to grab that gray and just make it smaller. You can adjust the size. There's room for there. There you go. Now, as always, we have our beautiful piece and we go to File, Export, Export As. I'm going to do a PDF. Yeah, save it to my desktop, whatever. You know, for me, I'm saying whatever. Smallest file size. I'm going to make sure nothing is turned on here, and I'm going to export PDF. And there we are. Make sure, I'm just reminding everybody, I do look at both the native file and the PDF. So you need to make sure you are uploading both files. I do double check that you have moved stuff and how did you move it and what did you do. So there you go, Art Sims in a nutshell. Famous designer. Loves his Spike Lee movies. Spike Lee must love him. Don't need to save that. Let's close that out. We can close that out, and then we'll close that out. Design practice 5, there you go. I think there's a design 6, 7, 8. We're getting close to the design practices being done. Always studio session 5, project overview. I'm just gonna remind you, at any point, you can upload your work there. I check it before you turn it in. You can be like, how does this look? And I'll be like, looking perfect, or maybe adjust this, or maybe move this over. Super simple changes to get you on your way. It's a great way to double check your work. Let's jump in. Let's talk about texture. All right, here we are. Boop, boop. Texture. Zoom in. Keep my hand. Move it to this side. All right. Texture, this goes a little bit back and forth a lot, is, and I love this word, the perceived surface quality of an object. So when we're dealing in graphic design, and we're dealing right now, because I will talk about more about something else. Right now, the perceived surface quality of an object, resulting in the way the white light interacts with the physical features. It's a perceived item. We have a photo of fur. It is not really fur. It is a photo. It is a perceived image. We can do that with cartooning. And that's the project we're going to do and I'll show you one example of like perceived texture in Illustrator. And it's going to be, you know, and then with texture, smooth, rough, soft, hard, bumpy, slick, you know, and it can be tactile. There's a physical feel, but maybe we don't always feel it, but we don't need to feel it. We see a lot with our eyes. Does that sound dumb? We see a lot with our eyes, but our eyes, you know, give us so much information, and we see a pattern, which is in fact a texture, and our mind says that is rough, that is smooth, that is soft. Our eyes tell our brain what we are looking at by memory is such a texture. Hope that all kind of makes sense. Pretty heady. We have actual texture, which refers to the tangible physical surface of the object, and then we have implied and visual. We will be dealing with mostly implied visual, the illusion of texture created through artistic techniques such as shading, patterns, or use of specific visual elements. Like I said, when we get to the project, I'll show you one, and I'll show you my example, and I'll show you how I got to it. I did a Google search on something, and you'll be like, oh my God, I'm like, yeah, it's almost that easy. But if you don't see it, you don't know it. It does. Adding interest and detail. So the role in the composition is adding interest and detail. Is that mine? Oh, my Google. Every time I say that, my phone picks up. That's hilarious. All right. In the role of composition, texture can enhance the visual interest of it. Instead of it, there was a design phase that came out 5-6 years ago, even more. Probably it's closer to 10, called flat design. Everything was a solid color. It was flat design. Microsoft started it. Apple picked up on it, and then there was years when the hot thing was flat design. Now the hot thing is gradients, and then it's going to be texture. But it adds a visual interest. Adding texture does add a visual interest. It's something else to look at instead of just a flat color. It can create depth. You know, it's just this idea that usually a texture is 3D. And so it has that sense of depth to it, and it makes it feel like, oh, there's a little bit more to this piece than just flatness. And of course, like almost every design element or principle, we can evoke emotion from it. Soft textures, oh, so comfy and warm, and that little kitten on that page just makes me smile. Or you have sandpaper, and it makes you think about rough work and, you know, hanging tough. Think of car commercials for trucks, and the guy talks like this, and the truck is driving on dusty ground, and that's all textures. It's just textures. You know what I mean? Like dust is flying everywhere, and this is a hard-working truck. It's just texture. If you showed that, and I think Cadillac may have done this for a while. Cadillac, when they came out with their SUV for the first time, and people were like, wait, what? A high-end car is making an SUV? Because it was like kind of revolutionary then. They showed theirs in the city all clean and stuff, and people were like, no, like an SUV is about this, that. But, you know, again, that's years ago. Now an SUV is just a standard vehicle, sadly. Too big. We don't need them big. Contrast and variety. Contrasting textures within a design can create visual interest. Contrast is wonderful. Contrast and variety are something we're going to talk about when we talk about the principles of design, when we get into the principles. We're now elements. Again, as just a reminder, elements are actually like the tangible design pieces, and then the principles is like how you use them. You can use 2 elements to create contrast. You use 2 or 3 elements to create variety. So one leads into the other, and just that's why we talk about contrast and variety, is we will lead into that when we talk about the principles. But contrasting textures creates interest. We have smooth next to rough. You get almost 2 different feelings in one design. Here's a fun one. Textures applied in print and digital media to create visual interest. And then these 2. I'm running these 2 in one. Because, and I was thinking about this earlier, and I don't always talk about this, but there is advanced print techniques, let's call it. Super high end, usually, because it's costly. It costs a lot. Think about when you get, I don't know, it's really hard to say because they're doing it more and more. Unboxing, you guys ever see these unboxing videos people do of a high-end product, and they look at the box, and the box has matte finish with a gloss finish. So we are applying a texture during the print process to make a tactile interaction. Ooh, you can add fur. You can add who's in the Pokemon, all those, I got a holo card. Well, the holo is actually a texture being added, and it's a visual texture and like an effect. Ooh, gold leafing. Oh, I got this bit, it's gold. They put gold on it. That's a texture. It's not paper. I've covered the paper with real gold. I've added a texture to make it seem higher end. There's all sorts of things. Dare I even say we go to scratch and sniff territory where you can actually make the paper tactile roughness that tells you to scratch it and then to put it to your face and sniff it. You guys remember those? Scratch and sniff? Anybody? So it goes beyond just what we kind of like we'll be talking about this week of like with a visual gauging of texture, but it actually can be physically done in the print media, in print alone. Who knows? with VR, in the next 10 years or so, we're going to get something weird happening with virtual reality and those gloves and the thing, and then you're going to get sprayed in the face at your own home, and then that will be adding it into the digital world as well. Or what is that? You know, you have to go to Disney World. They got those 5D movies with SpongeBob, and you know, and then we're adding in. It's adding in texture to your movie. I've got visual, I got sound, and now I'm getting blown in the face or sprayed in the face, and it's adding that extra feature. And yeah, pretty soon graphic designers will be doing the same thing. So we talk about interest. Textures add interest. Somebody applied a texture to this poster for Swan and Cristo 2011 USA Tour. It's a cool, like, just that the texture is a pattern in which the artist removed the image from the pattern. I guess that's the best way I can say it, and shifted it up. And we're just creating interest. But if I zoom in on this, if you see this pattern that they created, it's like a repeating diamond. That's how they got this shape as well. So it's not for naught. This shape is in the pattern. Pretty cool. And it's just like a pattern. It's an offshoot. If you would have done this with just, oh, it's a couple of moose on the, it's not as interesting. This makes it look pretty rad. Why does it shift over every time I do that? There we go. Here's one I love. Sorry. Every time I do that. Love what you do. This is for a graphic design student show in Portland State University. Instead of saying, I'm going to, in my programs, make a black cutout and make it look like it's on a rough surface, they literally did it. They took a piece of paper, they cut out the letters in a cool way. Oh, or you could use, what year was this done? I don't even know. I can't quite see the year. I don't think I have the year on it. Think of this. Those crickets, the Cricut machine, cut out a piece of paper. You have your vector file. You cut out your piece of paper. You cut out love what you do. You put it on the ground. You hold it down with your foot and you take a picture. It's a beautiful graphic design piece. All these textures are there, and all the textures are real because it's a photograph, yet it's a graphic design piece. And it's contrast. It's got shadow. It's lovely. I like this next one as well. This one is great. It is, sorry, I hope I'm not making people sick by doing it. What you see here is pattern on top of pattern on top of pattern on top of pattern. It's like amazing. So many things going on. We have a background. We have a repeating pattern. This repeating pattern actually does create what we call a texture. The image of the people dancing, those dots, that is called half toning. Half toning is still used today. It's using less and less with new era of printing and mass production of printing. But if you were to take a magnifying glass to that magazine in your house that nobody has anymore because nobody reads magazines, and you took a magnifying glass and you zoomed in on that dot on the color image, it's actually made up of 4 dots: black, yellow, magenta, and cyan. CMYK. What we do with this is we remove everything and we just do a black halftone and add a color to it. So it's a pattern and a texture. Then on this piece, they distressed, we call it distressed, the lettering, scratched it up a little bit, made it look all cool. It's called texture, distressing. And that's another texture on here. Texture on texture on texture and texture. This one looks like paper cutout. In fact, it is not, in fact, the paper cutout. As much as I show this piece also for something that drives me nuts in design, and it is lazy repetition, where we have a really great concept, but then I'm going to circle it for everybody. Then we get lazy, and we start to see repetition in the piece. And this, to me, is not repetition in the terms of a pattern. If it was continuous all the way up and the scale changed, that would be one thing. But here it just seems like they grabbed, moved it, grabbed this, moved it here. It just got lazy. But it's a pretty cool technique. I just wish they would have finished it. There's another 30 minutes of work and it would have been no repeats. Take a little piece from here, take a little piece from there, and redo it. So that's something that I look for. That's something I actually don't even look for, but I can't not see. It's a really great way to find poor Photoshop work. If you guys ever go to those, I don't do it, but it used to be popular for a while. It's like bad Photoshop in news articles, and they'll show like devastating, and then somebody circles like where somebody photoshopped extra devastation in the image, and you can tell because it repeats. I am not kidding. It goes that far. So that's something I see. But I mean, it's a great texture, and it makes it look like it's cut out of paper. It makes it a lot of fun. They just did a lousy job. And then here's just like a cool, just general like texture for texture's sake. We got ink spill and like kind of that old style coffee spill on an old piece of paper. Then we got the dude, and we took it in Photoshop and we, resed it down and changed the opacities and then double it up to kind of start to turn an image into a texture. We have this badge, a sticker they added, the stupid drop shadow. I hate drop shadows. But it's still see-through, and so it's got some texture on there to make it maybe look a little wrinkly. Not the best job. They did a beautiful ornate drawing style for play, and it looks like somebody did it with a pencil, and they sculpted it, and they left all the texture marks in there and by DIR. And then, like down here, you can see they tried to make it look like it was on an old receipt for something. Just a fun play. We got wrinkles in the paper. It makes it far more interesting than if it was just a photo of a dude and then some information. It draws the eye. It attracts the attention of the people that we want to have attracted to this. So there you go. Any questions on texture? All right. Talk. As we move forward for the research, we are still using a preferred program. As you have seen, in session 1, 2, and 3, and when I actually went through these, you can still watch session. Oh no, they're all up on YouTube. You watch all of them again, where I go through and make sure that, and I am checking this, and I write this to every student if it needs to be done. Is the spacing between everything exact? I show you that the computer does it for you. If you move slow enough, if you move one thing and then another, it will start to pinpoint exactness. Is everything centered? Is everything lined up? Does it line up at the top, in the middle, or the bottom? And how is your typography? Is it look very sharp and clean and good? Again, I go over this in exacting detail. That first one is still open. I'm gonna look. I'll give you another visual example for somebody who's like, well, what did you mean? So if you go to one's open until midnight. Right down here, example 1, where I have everything is really spaced out perfectly. They line up perfectly. The the items are perfectly aligned. That's what I'm talking about. And you can do it. It is not hard to do, or you do a single page and then things are perfectly centered. Each one is in conjunction from one page to another. A lot of this, I'm not kidding. It does it for you. And I show how to do that in the video lecture for session 1, 2, and 3. Here's a shape one. Let's look at shape. Example 1. Spacing is perfect. These are all lined up, centered with each other. You know, even though there might be a little bump, it still creates some interest. I get a lot of people giving me album covers that are rectangular, and I'm like, that's not an album cover. Album covers are square. Don't crop. I want to see all the information. Only crop off the crap. There's a black line or schmutz. Crop that off, but I want to see the whole piece. Overall, we're doing pretty good with these. Overall, we're doing pretty good. But I just want to make sure that everybody does hear that I am looking at those. And then when we get into, it might be next week that we start switching over to doing these in Illustrator and then InDesign. So don't worry about that now. All right, texture project. Again, for anybody who is misunderstanding these projects, I supply the document for you, and I want you to work in the document that I have created. So presentation creation, first one it says is open the provided Illustrator document, review the layers, and then you'll be using your artwork here. The layers group. I provide it. I don't want anybody making up their own stuff. I want these to look good. I'm giving you the base. All right, you are going to be creating 4 compositions, not 6, just 4 this time, using 2 different opposing textures in each. These are the textures. I am supplying you the prompts. Don't make up your own prompts. I am supplying them for you. In fact, I will go in after this. Oh, here, exit this card. I'm gonna make those in bold, so it's not mistaken that somebody's like, I didn't know. Well, let's make it bold. Edit, and it'll do this in bold, and I'll move it to a second line. Complete return, and I'm gonna tab it in. Begin by carefully reviewing the list of contrasting textures provided. Consider the unique visual character each pair. All right, save that. We have smooth versus rough, soft versus hard, organic versus geometric, liquid versus solid, textured versus flat, warm versus cool, old versus new. We're getting a little, I'm going to call it heady. Ooh, how do I show these? Well, that's up to you, the artist. How could we show this? Well, let's download mine, in which I have done, I think the one I did smooth and rough. And I'll show you something else that might be missed. For anybody who's missing this part, is the text boxes is editable and it's green. I want you to work in the green. Green means go. So work in the green, and you can just click on that text and retype it. There's a text tool. It is the exact same T that is used in every program across the world. Microsoft Word, Google, whatever. The T means text. And then you just click on it and you type in glossy. So this is matte and glossy. Do I have matte and glossy? Do I call it matte on mine? Oh, you know what I did? I know why. I did something not on the list on purpose because I didn't want, like I wanted to give you an idea what to do, but not use one of them and have somebody be like, oh, I read those and that's what I wanted to do. So matte. matte finish, M-A-T-T-E, means a rough surface. It's not smooth, right? Matte. And I did that, and I made a gradient, and then I went to texture, but you could just do it with some lines. You can scribble, and this was me. I'm doing this. This is separate from you. This was my interpretation of 2 words, but I didn't want to steal from you students. So yours are different. Let me repeat that. Yours are different. Make sure you use the list on the assignment. Now, glossy, it's in there, glossy. How did I come up with glossy? Well, I thought cartoons. What? How do cartoons, let's say the Sunday funnies, if they're called that anymore, that are in color, how do they represent textures in the Sunday funnies? They certainly do. We don't look at it and then say, I don't get what's going on because I can't feel or touch the textures. They simulate them. And so what I did is for glossy, I think I typed in mirror cartoon images. Look, I think that's probably mine. See that search image? This is literally what I looked up. And I was like, oh, so they just did. I like this one. And I was like, oh, I can do some darker blue with a lighter blue and then make some funky little shapes, right? You know how to make the funky shapes. I taught you that in the shape lesson. Go back and watch the video. When I was starting to make all those like weird ones, like with the stars and stuff, that's how I made that shape on mine. And then it's just blue. Remember how I taught you how to do the tints of an image? That's how I got the blues. It's just cyan, 100%, 75, 20. That was it. It simulates what a feeling might be. It's going to be a little tough. How do you show hot and cold? So they are, I will say, you might battle me like, but they are somewhat of a texture. And they are felt, right? What are the other ones? I'm trying to think of soft, hard, organic, geometric. I mean, that's almost visual, but like organic, I think of like I don't know, like jam. Like jam is coming in my head. Like a spill of jam next to, and then geometric would be the box of cereal in the morning or the toast. I spilled the jam and the jam is like an organic puddle and then the toast is geometric. Have some fun. Tell a story. Like one of the things you might not know, and we'll get into that, and we'll get into this further on when you do research and concepting, is graphic design is telling a story. Tell that story between the two that you pick and have some fun with it. Look up. This is another one. I've been in this business for 30 years. I created this assignment. I still went on the internet to get a visual reference of what I wanted to do. There's nothing wrong with using visual references. For some dumb reason, last night, Ink Masters popped up and I was like, oh, I'll watch an episode of this. I have a friend who owns a tattoo parlor, and I was like, oh, I'll watch one of these episodes. And they had to do a drawing without reference, and almost every one of the artists was like, I only use reference when I draw. I have to use, and so it threw them, they blew their mind. Like there were people like, I don't draw without a reference. I never draw without a reference. I use references. I want to make something. I will peruse some references. Don't try to do it yourself. So I don't even want to give stuff away, but look it up. Look up stuff. I'll just leave it at that. Look up stuff. You get an idea, and then say, what would it look like what are some examples that I can kind of peruse and be like, ah, that's a perfect idea for what I'm looking for. Give that a shot. Any questions, comments, or concerns about texture or the texture assignments? All right, cool. Again, you can reach out to me at any point, any day of the week. Ask me questions, comments, concerns, anything. I'm around. Let me know. Love the help whenever I can. You may have to wait a couple minutes, just depending on where I'm at, what I'm doing, but I will get back to you as soon as I physically can. Session 1 closes tonight at 11:59 p.m. Make sure you have all your stuff in. And if I don't talk to you because you reached out to me, have a great weekend, and I will talk to you on Tuesday. All right, take care. Bye-bye.